I mentioned in the last video that this week would be another movie with a magical theme. But unlike the last few weeks, this one had more of an alternate reality theme. It stars Lindsay Fonseca, who has already made a couple of other similar movies for Hallmark, in that they involve some sort of alternate reality, which, by the way, are some of my favorites. So naturally, while I was looking forward to this new one, I was also a little bit nervous that I might be setting my own expectations too high. Well, with a great cast, writer, and director behind this one, can you blame me? So how did it measure up? Well, as usual, I've got a lot to talk about this week, so let's dive right in and get to it. Hi, I'm Stephanie, and welcome to the Magical Movie Club, a place to come and chat about Hallmark movies. This week's movie was The Magic of Lemon Drops, starring Lindsay Fonseca and Ian Harding. The story was based on a book called The Magic of Lemon Drop Pie. It was written by Rachel Linden, but I also want to give credit to Tracy Ann Dreen, who wrote the teleplay for the movie. Some of her other works include Switched for Christmas, as well as A Kiss for Christmas, both of which involve just a touch of magic, and I happen to have enjoyed them both very much. The Magic of Lemon Drops was directed by McLean Nelson. Now, he also made Branching Out earlier this year. He also made A Heidelberg Holiday last year, along with both of the Haul Out the Holly movies with Lacey Chabert. So, The Magic of Lemon Drops opens with Lolly and her father working at their family diner called The Eatery. It's a restaurant that specializes in traditional German food. The restaurant was her mom's dream, and her father, who's also the head chef, refuses to change anything about it, including, or shall we say especially, the menu.
What's this?
Eve's greenhouse experiment is bearing avocados, so I thought we could try to expand the breakfast items again.
That frustrates Lolly, who is a big fan of avocado toast, and she keeps trying out all different ideas like this, but her father will not budge.
As long as I own the diner and I'm the head cook, we're sticking to the menu your mom put together. None of this foofy stuff.
Unfortunately, they've been struggling in recent years, and the bills just keep piling up.
Is this what I think it is?
I'm taking care of it.
Not the IRS.
Lolly is getting more frustrated, and her father is getting more stressed. Next, we meet Rory. He's a team doctor for a professional hockey team. Yeah, I'm thinking that's got to be some steady work. He also has a wonderful little girl. Now, she doesn't have too much screen time in this one, but she makes a big impact here in this scene.
Pretty sad face for a kid who's going on a grand European vacation.
Because I want you to come with us.
You see, Rory and his wife have recently split up, and their daughter's trying to understand it all.
And then, when you get back, you and I are going up to the Boundary Waters. We're gonna go hiking, we're gonna go fishing, we're gonna see the new cabin.
She's about to leave on a trip to Europe with her mother, one that both parents had originally planned to go on together, but now he's not going and she really wishes he would.
And it's okay to be sad that I'm not gonna be there, but it's also okay to have a lot of fun.
This was such a touching scene. He tells her he's going to stay with his parents, her grandparents, back in Minnesota where he grew up. Now, isn't this beautiful? Actually, this one little brief scene caught my attention. It shows a quick peek at his Ohio license plate, so now we know where he's been living recently. And we see him stop to glance over at the house across the street before he goes inside his parents' house.
Lolly still lives there, you know.
Yeah, I assumed as much.
Back at the restaurant, Lolly's dad opens the freezer to reveal another one of her recent creations.
You seem to be liking them.
It doesn't matter whether I like them or not. What matters is that these are taking up space in my deep freeze.
This time it's frozen ice pops, which she makes from her best friend's fresh greenhouse-grown produce. That's hard to say. We meet her friend Eve at her produce stand where she tries out Lolly's popsicles, and she loves them so much she wants to sell them. While these two friends are talking, we also learn about Lolly's dream of someday owning her own restaurant.
I'd have an avocado palooza if I had my own restaurant, but at this rate, I guess I never will.
Eve also brings up the subject of Rory's return home,
I don't want to talk about it.
which Lolly doesn't want to talk about. Clearly there's some history here. Well, Lolly and Rory do meet up over at Eve's Produce, although Hallmark pointed out to me that it isn't really a meet cute since they already know each other. So, does that make it a re-meet cute? Rory was walking with Kirby, his parents' dog that they're fostering, and Kirby, the rambunctious dog that he is, knocked Lolly over to the ground when she went to pet him.
Hello, hello.
And then when she stood up again and was face to face with Rory, yeah, that was an awkward moment.
Trained. Lolly.
Rory.
Hey.
Hi.
We find out that the last time they had a conversation, they had a big blow up and then they broke up.
I mean, the last time we had an actual conversation was this huge blow up and then the breakup.
And by now she's feeling a little embarrassed and frustrated with her life. Well, because he became a successful doctor for a professional hockey team, and she's still struggling to keep the family restaurant afloat. Well, things are about to change the next day when she's helping her sister clean out the attic. Of course, you can expect to see them take a stroll down memory lane together. Lolly talks about her dreams of opening up a chic restaurant called Toast. Daphne, her sister, tells her her dream to study overseas to be a yoga instructor in Bali. But as soon as Daphne tells her that she was accepted at that academy, Lolly shuts down the idea immediately, and she tells her all the reasons why she shouldn't go.
Maybe I don't want my diary to be full of regrets.
Things blow up between them, and Daphne storms out.
Daphne. That's real mature.
Sounds like maybe that's how it might have all happened years ago with Rory. Well, a moment later, her Aunt Gert pops in by surprise. Quite literally.
That went well.
While Lolly opens up about all of her regrets, like,
Wish I had known then what I know now.
her Aunt Gert asks her an interesting question.
If you were given the chance to peek at the life you wish you had, would you take it?
And she proceeds to tell her all about these special lemon drops.
It contains much more than hope, my dear.
Huh. Lemon drops.
Magic lemon drops?
Magic lemon drops.
Yes, there are 4 of them, and here's how they work. You take one before you go to bed. Then don't just think about something, but actually say out loud something you wish you could go back and change if you could.
When you wake up, you will live one day as it would have been if you'd made that choice.
And then the next morning, when you wake up, everything will be back to normal, just as it is now.
When you wake up the next morning, you're back in your life here.
But you'll still remember that special day. Well, for the first 3 drops, that is. The 4th drop is different, and this is where it really gets interesting. If you use the last drop, you may return to one of those other lives you just saw, but it will be permanent.
And those memories, the only ones you'll have.
Of course, that night she's trying to read in bed, but she can't stop thinking about those lemon drops. They're sitting over in the ornate box over on her nightstand. And she eats one.
Whatever.
Her first regret, or do-over so to speak, is toast.
Right, I gotta say it out loud. Toast.
And when she wakes up, she's in a bedroom she doesn't recognize, and her hair is completely different. Not their finest wig, in my opinion, but I won't dwell on that. In this alternate reality, she finds out she now has her dream restaurant called Toast. Someone named India, whom she's never met before, is her manager, and she's calling to discuss the possibility of the restaurant earning its 2nd Michelin star.
I don't know, maybe at a little establishment that you've spent all of your blood, sweat, and tears building over the last 7 years?
The restaurant really is all she's ever dreamed of.
I would like to award you your 2nd star. Huzzah!
But there are some drawbacks to this reality. Her sister Daphne handles the marketing for her, but she's miserable.
India laid into me already. You really gotta call and chew me out personally?
And one thing that hasn't changed is she's still behind on all the bills.
Oh, this is lovely. Well, some things never change.
Oh, and Rory shows up with his beautiful girlfriend.
Lolly, you remember Emma.
I sure would.
It's so good to see you again.
It looks like he and Lolly are just friends. But there is one other interesting change. She finds out her dad is now married to someone named Ramona.
Ramona.
His wife, our stepmom.
who's helping him to recover from a stroke. Lolly is beyond stressed because the restaurant is clearly consuming every minute of her life.
Yeah.
Just think, we get to do this all over again tomorrow.
Living the dream.
And now she isn't so sure that this is quite the life that she really dreamed of. Fortunately, she woke up the next morning and all was just as it was before. Only this time, she was feeling ever so grateful for her family, and she even apologized to her sister for yelling at her.
I am so sorry for being crappy with you the other day.
You're actually apologizing to me.
And then she ran straight to her Aunt Gert with questions.
Because in reality, I was just as stressed as I am at the eatery, if not more so.
What about the rest of your life?
The restaurant was my life.
I thought the best answer that she gave was,
The most important part is what you learn from each experience.
and what you do next to find your bliss. Now, throughout the movie, we learn more about just what it means to find your bliss. And that message really spoke to me. Wouldn't it be great to have an Aunt Gert in our lives? Meanwhile, let's not forget about Rory. He's video chatting with his daughter over in Europe, who loves the dog, by the way.
Oh, okay, down to your bed.
Daddy and Grandpa got a dog?
And it's obvious that being away from her is tough on him too. And Lolly is telling her friend Eve all about her experience with the lemon drops. Exactly how do you tell anyone about a magical experience like that? Well, Eve doesn't exactly believe her, but she's still pretty supportive, because if it's one thing Lolly took away from that reality, is now she wants to make things right with Rory.
But if it's helping you get some things done that you've been putting off, I say lemon drop away.
She and Rory actually have a very good conversation next, and they open up about what happened all those years ago when he left to go off to Duke for a residency.
People like to give me your updates, whether I ask them to or not.
I get yours as well.
Well, that's a short list.
So what about the next lemon drop? Well, that night she ate another one, and this time she thought about her mother.
Mom.
When she woke up in this reality, she was a regional manager for a food supply company, though she wasn't exactly happy about that.
Oh.
But she does have an amazing day with her mother, who said something that also stood out for me.
Well, history's only helpful if it doesn't block you from the future.
And we get to see the two of them baking a lemon drop pie together.
3 secret ingredients that make this the best lemon drop pie?
Meyer lemons, European butter, and lemon balm.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There were some things she had to give up in this reality too. I just don't want to give those away. Her Aunt Gert was excited though the next morning to hear all about Lolly's day with her mother. Apparently they were sisters. And we also learned just a little bit more about Aunt Gert's own experience with her own lemon drops.
I mean, is this your original path, or did you choose one of the lemon drops?
I chose what was best for me and my loved ones.
And I will say Lolly's relationship with Rory gets just a little bit better in real life after each one of these lemon drop experiences.
Why don't we say, from here on out, we don't talk about the past. We only focus our conversations on the here and now. Does that sound good?
Later on, in real life though, things take a turn for the worse when Lolly's dad actually has a stroke this time. But Lolly doesn't know about it just yet, and she takes the third lemon drop to see what her life would be like if she and Rory never broke up.
Rory Shaw.
But just when you think this is the absolutely perfect reality,
Happy anniversary.
Hi.
she finds out that no, there is a drawback here too. And this one might be the toughest one of all for her, because to stay here would be purely selfish on her part, and she doesn't know if she'd be able to live with herself if she did that.
But if you'd gone to Duke...
Look, everyone makes sacrifices in life.
Back in reality again, Lolly finds out about her father's stroke, and the whole family needs to come together to decide what's best for the diner and his health.
I promise I'll do what needs to be done.
It means we're gonna have to close the diner, at least temporarily.
But it's true, most of the burden was felt by Lolly, perhaps because she's the oldest.
And I know this is going to be difficult for you. You need to get some rest, all right?
Lolly's also at the point where now she has only one lemon drop left. She's seen all of the other possible realities that she can, and it's decision time. Does she take the last one?
I have one drop left. Should I use it?
And if so, which life would she choose? And that's where I'll leave this one. At this point, I was completely caught up in it all. I can't tell you how many times I have dreamed about all of the what ifs in my own life. And every time I've asked myself, what would be the risk if I had taken a different path? Usually the types of dreams I think about are, what if I made choices that would eliminate the painful and some of the worst experiences that I've lived? You know, the ones that you wish would never have happened. But you know what? Those experiences make us who we are now. And I think it helps us to appreciate what we have more. In my own life, I know that if I had bypassed all of the painful years to jump right to the happy parts, maybe I wouldn't have my boys. And for me, nothing is worth that risk. But what does Lolly choose? Well, she does find her bliss, but I would highly recommend watching this movie to find out how it all works out, because this was one of Hallmark's very best. The characters were wonderful, the story was inspiring, because too often I think that we tend to forget about or take for granted all of the wonderful things that we have in our own life right now, because we spend too much time wishing we had a different life or someone else's life, and it was magical. But it wasn't campy, and I appreciate that more than you know. Or maybe by now you do. I suppose if there's any one negative that I can think of, it would be that I would love to know more about where those lemon drops came from. I know Aunt Gert said she got them from a fortune teller at a carnival, but for some reason I wanted to know even more. But it doesn't really matter though, because I'm not even going to hesitate giving this one a 5 out of 5. It was that good. So what about you? I'm sure not everyone will feel the same way, especially if magic or alternate realities just aren't your thing. And that's why I appreciate, and I'm sure many of you will find this statement funny, Hallmark putting a little variety in their stories sometimes. Well, I think that wraps up my review of The Magic of Lemon Drops. Next week, we'll be watching Head Over Heels, starring Rebecca Dalton and Olivier Renaud. This one looks like it should be a little more light-hearted fun, with Rebecca Dalton's character being a shoe designer. We'll have to see how that one shapes up next week. Until then, and as always, thank you so much for being a part of the Magical Movie Club. If you like this too and want to see more, please let me know by hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel so you'll know when the next one comes out. As usual, I've added links to the preview video and the movie page for The Magic of Lemon Drops at Hallmark.com. I'll be back next week to chat more about our favorite magical movies.
And that, my dear, is all I'll say about that.
Well, that's not helpful.